Talk radio is known for pushing the boundaries of good taste, but every now and then we're reminded there are some lines that even that medium can't cross. WEEI's Kirk Minihane learned that this week, but some of his better-known colleagues may be getting off easy. WGBH News reporter Adam Riley has more.
To understand why WEEI's Kirk Minihane is in trouble, flash back to baseball's All-Star Game, which paid tribute to retiring Yankee Derek Jeter. After this hit, pitcher Adam Wainwright admitted he'd gone easy on Jeter.
I was going to give him a couple pipe shots just to, he deserved it. I probably should have pitched him a little bit better.
But then Wainwright backtracked in an interview with Fox Sports' Erin Andrews.
It was missaid. I made a mistake about that.
Well, we appreciate you clearing that up.
On Wednesday, WEEI's Dennis and Callahan show played a clip of Andrews' softball interview, and Minihane went ballistic.
What a bitch. Seriously. I hate her. What a gutless bitch.
Moments later, Minihane tried to back off.
I should call her bitch. I'm sure she's a nice person, but she's a probably bitch.
Still, the story went national, partly because Andrews is a media celebrity. But while Minihane got the bad press and issued an apology, it's still not clear who laughed at his initial remarks.
What a bitch. Seriously.
Or who derailed Minahane's backpedaling and put the B word back in play.
She's a probably bitch.
For now, WEEI isn't talking. The controversy may be giving some listeners deja vu.
He's a Metco gorilla. And not the Lexington. Exactly.
After that infamous exchange, it was Dennis who took the hit, until the full audio revealed Callahan's participation. At WEEI, apparently, the more things change, the more they stay the same.
So does an apology suffice, and should there be wider accountability at WEEI? Joining me to hash it out are Joshua Benton of the Neiman Journalism Lab, Neiman Journalism Fellow Susie Benakarim, Callie Crossley of WGBH News, and Dan Kennedy of Northeastern University. Well, just to remind everybody that Metco Gorilla incident was 2003, and they had suspended John Dennis for 2 weeks. We went back and dug up the audio and played it, and then everybody realized it was a much wider, there was a lot more back and forth over that. Same thing happened with this, so I'm a little surprised that only Kirk Minihane is taking the hit. I also want to say something about Kirk Minihane, because I like him, and I've thought he's really kind of the reasonable antidote to Dennis and Callahan. We've talked to him before, we've had him, we've interviewed him as we had on that tape, so I was a little concerned that he did this, because being a bitch has nothing to do with doing a softball interview. I mean, it was he projected something on her that had nothing to do with the point he was trying to make, which was she let him off easy. How do you jump to that point? That's what I found so disturbing. If he said she's a moron, or she's over her head, or she doesn't know what she's talking about, but to say, I mean, that's a whole different connotation. I didn't get that.
I thought it was incredibly offensive, and here's what I don't understand about it. I don't condone the initial outburst, but I can understand it. They're in an environment where that's kind of encouraged sometimes, and he went way too far. But what I don't understand is why there wasn't some realization in the booth immediately as to what had happened, and a fulsome apology right after the next commercial break.
I think he tried, but the others, they were backing him up.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you've got adult supervision in the building, supposedly, and you would have thought that somebody would have intervened. So, let's not even just spread this out to John Dennis and Jerry Callahan. I think it goes much higher than that, because they could have nipped this in the bud that morning, and they didn't do it.
I mean, I think the thing is, it's just such casual misogyny that makes it so offensive, that it sort of feels like they don't realize it's offensive as they say it, and there's a lot of laughter in the room, and he sort of backpedals, but then someone else says, oh, but she's a bubblehead. I think he actually says again, I wish you were dead, which he says a number of times. And to me, that's the sort of the weirdest part. Like, it's such an extreme reaction. I mean, I think a lot of people would agree that she wasn't necessarily doing a great job, but I'm not sure it should have led to that thing. And so it actually made me think of this quote that Gail Gardner, who was one of the first female anchors, said at one point, for women, especially in this profession, they'll never stop being a struggle with constant blows. And I think it is true that just being a woman as a sports reporter is not easy. And there is this real, like, you see it on the comment boards and you see it on these shows, there's this very easy misogyny that goes on. And I think it's just time to check themselves a little bit beyond this particular incident.
I think it's, at a certain level, the idea that someone on a sports talk radio show would say something sexist or racist is almost like a headline you could probably write somewhere in America every day. That's the business model at a certain level. That's the orientation of what they do. And it's all about pushing that and pushing that to get it just far enough. And sometimes you go a little too far and you get in trouble, but often you don't. There's no excuse for what was said, and bringing her gender into it there was no point to it. It is interesting though, if you strip all that away, which is difficult to do, but if you strip all that away, there's actually a second point that he was trying to make that I think is actually an accurate one, which is it is sad that the degree to which someone who is called a sideline reporter is essentially an arm of the PR engine of a professional sport, which is essentially what was happening there. The piece that actually, the last words of that wasn't in the clip that we saw was after the interview with Adam Wainwright. She says, "Oh, isn't social media just terrible or something?" And he says, "Yeah, it's terrible." And his explosion was after that, and that was the dumbest thing that Erin Andrews could have said at that point, because essentially what happened is Adam Wainwright told the truth, was told that it was a bad thing that he told the truth. Erin Andrews provided an environment for him to lie about it, and then to sort of say, "Oh, I guess it's those silly people on Twitter." So there is, as terrible as everything he said was, there was an underlying point deep underneath all the misogyny and all the terribleness that I think is at least worth mentioning.
But the fact is the point gets lost because of the misogyny. It's sort of why doing this is so counterproductive to what you're actually trying to say. Is who cares about what he was trying to say, right?
Sure. Well, the point is that this gets conflated all the time. That if you are a woman, not just in sports, if you are a woman making a point in any arena, particularly in politics, this is the kind of stuff that comes after you online and in person. And pretty much, unless it's extreme, it's just let go and accepted. And I don't think enough is said about how many times this happened. So this is actually not out of the ordinary. I'm not at all surprised, to Josh's point about, since when have we not seen that? But the fact that we have gotten to the point where it seems like really upsets me. And to the degree that he said what he said, this is happening every day to women professionals.
A couple of days earlier, Lou Merloni, who does the midday show, said about Erin Andrews, "Oh yeah, she bumped that Pam Oliver from her sideline job. She made her, it made her career when she posed naked in her hotel room." Posed naked? Some peeping Tom was putting a video. What if she posed naked?
Exactly.
So they talk about conflating.
It's the point of this environment.